So if you're just getting on, we're going to wait 2 or 3 minutes, get everyone finished with dinner, family time, work, and then we'll get started about 2 minutes, 3 minutes after the hour. I do want to show you, Paz, one of our property counselors there, a personal investor for many years as well, is going to be helping facilitate with me, handling the chat room and putting some good things of stats of our market spotlight tonight. So Paz will be here to help. He's a wealth of knowledge and investor himself. So it'll be a great team effort tonight. So we're looking forward to sharing some of the information. So again, if you're just joining us, 1 or 2 more minutes. We're going to start normally at about 3 after to give people those few minutes, and we're going to have a great half hour of facts and discussions. I think it'll be great for your investing plans for next year, hopefully. So give us another minute and we'll get going. Okay, again, if you're just joining, we're going to get started a couple minutes after the hour. Like people to get that last bit of dinner in, finish up work. So we will get things rolling in a few minutes. 1 or 2 more minutes, we'll get started again. You see myself and Paz on the screen. Paz is not only a longtime real estate investor, but one of our property counselors, wealth of knowledge, and he'll be helping facilitate tonight with me. And we've got some great things to share about the market that I'm excited about all our markets, but when we had to come down to our top pick, this was it. And I think you'll see why. And I'm interested to share some of the things that we're working on. It'll be a great night. So 1 more minute and we'll get started. All right. Well, some of our friends on the West Coast are still finishing up work, and our East Coast friends are finishing a later dinner. So again, we do want to give an extra minute. We'll get started. We won't keep you on too long. Usually go about a half hour and then some questions. Please, there are no bad questions. Put them in the chat box. Paz is going to help me answer them, or we'll answer them at the end. I want to make sure that you guys have a lot of clarity around what we're doing. So 1 more minute, we'll get started, and we're going to have a great little chat tonight. All right. Well, it is a couple minutes after the hour. I think it's great to get started. Again, my name is Jim Sheils, and Paz, one of our property counselors and a personal investor, will be helping me tonight. We are at Southern Impression Homes, and we have one specialty that we focus on. That specialty, again, just the disclaimer that everyone has to have in every sort of presentation now is our sweet spot. Our sweet spot is we build new construction, single family, duplex, and quads, residential real estate for investors. We're currently in about 12 different markets in Florida. You'll notice we're not in Orlando or Miami or Tampa. That is by design. And the number one word I'm going to mention tonight, which is why we are what we are and pick this market, those aren't available in those three markets. I love those three markets, but not the best place for our investors. We currently have almost $1 billion under asset management, over 1,000 active investors, 9,000 units we've built so far, housing over 10,000 residents. We got a team of over 120 people growing. Minimum $80,000 investment to start building your portfolio with us to get you going. Now, we only go and build in areas that have my 5 factors, which are economic growth, population growth, affordability. Hint, hint, that is the word of 2025, I believe. Desirability and healthy supply and demand. We will not go into build at scale in any market without all 5 of these factors. And that's how we picked the markets that we choose to build in. What do? We work with wealthy and ultra wealthy people and help them build successful rental portfolio for long-term growth without the headaches. That is our job, to make sure that any headaches that you might be having, we absorb so that you don't have to go through the normal. Oh, sorry guys, my slides have frozen. There we go. So affordable new construction in affordable growth markets with low interest rate financing to help ensure cash flow. Those are all the things we bring in, along with world-class property management in place. So what do we have to do for you? We got to build it right. We got to finance it right. And right now we're locking in some of our investors at 3.75% long-term financing. And we manage right. You got to get all three of those done if you're going to do the new construction turnkey model. Build right, finance right, manage right. And we bring in all the pieces for you. Our number one selling USA Today book. We're very excited about that. Ask in the chat box to pause. If you have not received a copy yet, we will send it out. This was a labor of love from my wife and I, our 25-year journey in real estate investing, my business partner, Chris, many of the people on our team and clients. This really does talk about the new construction turnkey model and the success it could have to buy back your time and have more time with your family. So if you haven't gotten a copy of this, please write to pause your address. He will take care of that and get it out to you. Our top market pick for 2025, again, I hinted to it. The word of the year, guys, is affordability. We want affordable markets. We want affordable pricing for the properties that we build. And our number one pick is Ocala, Florida. Of all our markets, this is where I see the best opportunity, not only for growth, but for cash flow as well. Really strategically located. I've always liked the Ocala area, not only because it's a very beautiful area, which I'll show some slides on. We're strategically located just south of Gainesville, just north of the Villages, northeast of Orlando. Tampa is about 72 miles, I believe, to the Ocala area. So it has a lot going for it. And again, affordability is one of the key things. Horse capital of the world. Again, you'll get copies of our slides. So don't worry, guys, about writing down notes. I'll get you copies of these slides. Great community, nature-filled lifestyle. Some of you probably saw my writing. I was out there on New Year's Day at some of the springs. Incredible spot and something that people really enjoy. So it has a lot going for it. These are just some of the pictures of Ocala. That is really Ocala. It's not the Bahamas. That's what the Crystal Rivers look like. It really is quite extraordinary. World Equestrian Center, a multi-billion-dollar project. We've done events out there toward investors. This just shows how much money is in equestrian, and it is basically the horse capital of the world now. Very exciting place, brought a lot of industry and economy to Ocala recently. Now, this was really interesting. People say, well, you're into long-term buy and hold. What do things look like? Well, this is one of my favorite stats. Woods and Pools did a study that the Ocala metro area population will grow by 56% between 2022 and 2060. You say, oh, that's a long time out. Well, we like to look a long term out. Some of you know I have Irish relatives who still have properties as rentals that we've owned for 142 years. So I know that you can look long term. And this is a great showing to say what is going to happen in Ocala. Will the wind be at your back with more growth or not? And we see really good things. And that same report projected the employment is going to grow by 67%. So with all of that growth in population and employment and the affordability, we feel really good at it. New jobs from the multinational manufacturings are attracting people to the area. This new administration is really talking about bringing manufacturing back to the United States. There is a multinational push right now in the Ocala area to do just that and add more industry, which will be great for the economy. It has one of the most affordable housing in the area, which is a factor for its popularity and why we like to build there. We like to put you in safe areas. And it was ranked the number one city for people to move to, and according to Moving Trends report, 1 year ago today. For the 1 year ago this quarter, was ranked the number one city that people were moving to in the U.S. today, and we're still seeing a great trend on that. Now, let me give you some rankings of Ocala. Okay, first off, before we go into some rankings and stats on Ocala, know that the Sunshine State today only has 25 affordable workforce houses available, those rental homes, for every 100 low-income renters. I mean, think about that for a mile. There is a major shortage in this type of housing that we focus on. A lot of the big builders have no interest in. And so we know we're filling a gap, especially in an affordable market like Ocala. They were ranked 69th best overall place to live in the U.S. by U.S. News and Report. And that's a great thing. Top 100 places to live in the whole country. And then top best place, number 10 for a place in Florida by U.S. News and Report. It's ranked 36th for best performing city by the Milken Institute. And a little bit about the inventory. Let's talk about the inventory, the housing itself. Homes in Ocala typically sell after about 62 days on the market. So 62 days on the market, which is faster than the state average, great amount of time to sell, faster than normal. Oh, sorry, guys, got a little freeze there again. And then there's a month supply, 5.2 months of housing supply is available for sale in Ocala. People say, is that good or bad? Well, let me tell you, during the pandemic, we went down to about 1 month supply, which was unheard of. And in 2008, areas in Florida, like Southwest Florida, that really suffered in the meltdown, they had about 16 to 17 months of housing supply. So just to give you a little bit of a range, during the pandemic, it was 1 month. During the meltdown in '08, it was about 16, 17 months. So this shows we're sitting at a normal market, and I feel really good about that. Sales, home sales. There was over 3,600 homes sold between January 24 and 25, and that's up, almost 1,000 properties from the year prior. That's a very good sign. And then the median price. Homes in Ocala were selling for a median price of just 3,099 in January of 2025. So last month, this is what the average median price was, which is pretty exciting because we're building actually a little below that in a lot of cases. And couple this affordable pricing, remember the word affordable, with this. The median household income for Ocala, Florida in 2024 was estimated to be just over 77,000. 77,000. Now let me go back to that real quick. A $300,000 house with an average income of 77,000. That is extremely healthy on what's called the affordability index. And that's how much house average cost is compared to the average household monthly income. And I've done other slides I'm sure you guys have seen, where we go to like San Francisco, California, or New York. These numbers are incredible, meaning the average household can afford the average home. This is very high ranked, and this shows a safety score not only for value increases to continue, but also for rents to continue to be able to rise because people can afford more rent. So let's look at one of the Ocala houses. Again, tonight, this is just about giving you guys an overview. This gives you an introduction. We wanted to talk deeper about Ocala, but I wanted you to see some of the actual properties available. And your property counselor can go deeper into these numbers, but we like to put out just the general flyer for a start, and then you can ask deeper questions either at the end here or with a personal one-on-one call with your property counselor. So here's a great single-family home, just over 1,400 square feet. Again, a great model that most builders won't even take the time to do this workforce housing. This is our specialty. Priced at 277, so below the median average for pricing the home. The mortgage, you're looking at about, again, these are based off our 3.75 program. 965 taxes, insurance, property management is free for the first 2 years with our build to rent program. And so you're looking at a cash flow start of $308 a month and a post 5-year projected profit of 138,972. And I'll explain later the 5 factors that we put into it to get these conservative numbers. Again, this is the power of long-term buy and hold. And there is really no stronger real estate instrument than the single-family home that actually can achieve this for you. Now, part of the greater Ocala area, just to the southwest, is Inverness. Now, Inverness is a submarket I consider of Ocala, beautiful little historic downtown, local festivals, unbelievable landscape, and again, access to the outdoors and the springs. I really like Inverness. It's one of my favorite little old downtowns. It's known for its historic downtown, and it really does give quite a look. Again, you can see some of the pictures here. That restaurant on the left has an incredible group of Reuben that I get every time that I'm in town, checking out the builds. But really a nice little town, and it was ranked as one of the top most affordable retiree markets with good health care. So think of those things together. One of the most affordable for retirees with good health care. Those are all great combos for what we're looking for. And again, Inverness, again, affordability, top 10 cities to retire with under $3,000 a month coming in. Number 5 on the list was Inverness, meaning that you'll be able to retire there for under $3,000. Here it's showing 2921. And Smart Assets ranked Inverness as the 4th best place to retire in the United States. Why? Because of its diverse community, because of its amenities, because of its healthcare, and because of its affordability. So Inverness is definitely part of what I consider Central Florida, just south of Ocala, and it's a great place where we're finding incredible investments. Again, lots of festivals, the Grand Prix, the motorsports festivals in November, really a good thing. So Inverness also is designated for trails with 18 popular trails, sites, and hikes. If you're an outdoorsman like me, I go out there. I went out there New Year's Day right around Inverness and Ocala to go to the springs with my family. These are the things that draw people there, and these are very affordable, fun things to do. Paddleboarding, fishing, kayaking. It really does have a following both for young families and even retirees. So again, lots more on the parks there. Again, I'll get you these slides. There's a chain of lakes and popular for everything I just said: cycling, paddling, boating, fishing, and hiking. Why is this important, guys? You're saying, well, this might be a little detailed. Well, why would people want to live there? When we have this influx of almost 500,000 people coming to Florida every year, they just released that last month. Why do they want to come here? Well, they're looking for affordability and other amenities. And these types of things, that they can move someone affordable with good job source, with good job pay, and they have these type of amenities, it has an advantage. So it's always important to know these things. A location and affordability. Let's talk a little bit deeper on that for Inverness. In Inverness, the cost of living is 12% below the national average and nearly 15% lower than the state average. So again, we're looking for affordability. This is huge. That shows it's in a really good safety score. The median listing for a home in Inverness was 269.9 in December. So again, nice and affordable, below that 300,000 mark. And the income there is a little bit less than in Ocala. It goes down to the mid 60s, but still for this pricing, it's about the equilibrium of that positive affordability index. So something that you also want to look for. Community aspect, one of the highest rates of senior residents. Again, a beautiful little downtown. Amenities, 39% are age 65 and older. That's from the 2023. So there is lots of baby boomer money going there, and that provides a lot of jobs around them and is expected to continue for quite some time. So let's look at Inverness. So as I said, our recipe for success, as you guys know, is single family, duplex, and quads. I'm very excited to be releasing our Inverness duplexes. We have been sold out for the most part, with the exception of about 3 or 4 in the last few years, but we've been sold out of duplexes in Ocala and Inverness for about 4 years now. And they are not always easy to get approved, but they were just bought out very quickly with our last round of them. And so now we're finally, as of next month, releasing completed duplexes in Inverness. And I do want to stop and remind you guys that we do not do pre-construction. You do not have to get you don't have to get a construction loan. You don't have to wait for properties to be built. You can pick a property that's done, possibly already with a tenant in place, or that's going to be done within the next month. And that is a very exciting thing for people who want to get their money moving. Also, you might have a 1031 exchange. 1031s are a magic way. When I was moving a lot of my rental portfolio out of California many years ago and coming to Jacksonville, 1031 exchange was a great way to sell off a property and then move my money forward into properties. So if you're doing something like that, talk to your property counselors. These are a great way. And duplexes are a very interesting property. They can be built in single family home neighborhoods. And also down the road, when you decide to sell them, you can sell them not only to an investor, but a first-time home buyer. In fact, I've seen a lot of first-time home buyers start to do that. Well, let me live in one side and rent the other to a family or a friend or to whoever. And so this gives you a bigger buyer pool if you decide to sell down the road. And it gives you 2 tenants under one roof to create a higher rental yield. And again, a very safe, friendly, really a feeling of a single family home neighborhood. So I'm a big fan of duplexes. And what you can see is, again, you're buying basically 2 homes for just over 200,000. And that comment of just 2 homes is what our tenants have said. Remember, our competition can be large apartment buildings, but when they go to one of our duplexes because they couldn't afford a single family home, they see that they have their own yard, their own space, their own driveway. They can go, single story entry. It excites them. And so we know these are in high demand. And again, that's why I'm saying they're coming back out. But if you look at this pricing, again, just under 420,000, average mortgage, taxes, and insurance. There is lawn care included for that because we don't want the tenants to put that on them. You're going to start with a cash flow of over $700. And in today's world, people say, well, that's unheard of. It's not unheard of if you buy in affordable markets that are in demand with good low interest financing, which is what our in-house financing provides. And that's going to provide a post 5-year hold based off of conservative numbers. And again, the property counselors will go through exactly how we calculate this over 220,000. And again, that shows it's not about timing the market, it's about time in the market. And that's why we're really sticking with the affordables. The duplex is a wonderful tool to start to jump your portfolio. Again, a lot of people, if they start off with one or two properties, I will always encourage do one and one because it really is a powerful way to plug in. So let's look at this. Another single family home in Inverness, Citrus Springs. 274,000, staying below that 300,000. Again, the square footage for this 3.2, just over 1,400 square feet. High demand, this type of model, but again, a lot of the bigger builders have no interest in building these smaller homes. There's not enough margin. And again, it's no secret, we are a low margin builder that does volume to make up for it. That's our business model, and it's worked well for us. So again, average mortgage taxes and insurance, you're looking at a cash flow of over $362 and a post-year hold of 5 years of 136,000. Again, the power of buy and hold real estate. These are great investment interest to be able to plant in and let it do the work. And again, I know a lot of you heard me talk before. The nice thing I've seen about going from new construction compared to where I used to rehab a lot of old foreclosures was the tenancy. Our tenant pool went from an average of staying about 13 months. Now with the new construction, it's just over 3 years. This is pinnacle to getting you guys the best results as you first start to plant the seeds. So 5 ways to make money in real estate. That's how we calculate that 5-year hold. Appreciation, leverage, debt paydown, tax benefits, and cash flow. All of these matter. And I'd like to look at number 5. We want to get you positive cash flow off the bat. But my biggest rule is I will always sacrifice some cash flow for a better quality property. The biggest lesson I learned through 2008, where I had hundreds of properties and it was a really hard time. And if I had had less properties of better quality, I would have had less turnover. And yes, I would have uh, theoretically lost some cash flow, but not really when you start to see the lower maintenance and repairs and less turnover on these higher ones. So cash flow is something that's important. But again, if I had wanted to go just from cash flow when I left California, I would have moved to the Midwest. I decided to come to Florida where there was more growth. And that is really, it's that first one on the list where I've made and become a multimillionaire. It's not the fifth one. The fifth one is great, cash flow is great, but it's planting seeds and long-term buy and holds. And that's why we do new construction, because you want a property that can withstand long-term buy and hold. This is really important. Savvy investors use proven systems, strategies, and guidance to make money in real estate by producing repeatable results. That's why we keep building in Ocala. That's why we keep doing the same models. That's why we have our same marketing programs, because it works. Again, Ocala is one of our fastest occupancy markets as well. It's the fastest once a property is done to get it rented. It's the fastest out of all 12 of our markets. So these are repeatable results that you want to look for, and that's what we're trying to supply. So again, for 2025, affordability is the key. Affordable markets and affordable high growth markets with low interest financing to support that initial cash flow and growth. And that's what we're bringing to you. So remember too, you got to have time in the market. Everyone's talking about time in the market, time in the market. If you can get long-term financing on a solid house in a growing area with the right interest rate that's long-term, that's where you're planting now. And the time in the market, at least for me in the last 26 years, taking care of itself. If I was always waiting to just time the market perfectly, I'd probably be thinking about buying that first house in Lompoc, California 27 years ago. So these are our property counselors. These are the people that make things happen. Right here, the 4 of these people here not only have experience in real estate investing themselves for many years and have put together dozens and dozens and dozens of successful rental portfolios, they are the best guidance that I have found to get you guys what you need. They know the markets well. They know the numbers well. They have experiences with so many investors. When you share your needs or your goals, they're able to backwards engineer what you actually want and how to get you there. Okay, you set your plan. We're looking out 2 to 3 years for 3 properties, and they can set it in motion. They have a very good track record with this. So again, having a call with them, no matter what you do, whether you decide to work with us or not, that's irrelevant for learning something and getting yourself in a better position to be ready to invest in real estate. So I always encourage when people say, great, I'm interested, these Ocala stats make sense. Book a call with your property counselor. These people know they're investors themselves. They've helped put together dozens of portfolios. And from what I'm told, and I might be biased, they're a lot of fun to work with. So here we go. Go to Southern Impression Homes and request a call. Book your one-on-one with the consultant property counselor. And that's the future of wanting to have that passive income active freedom. That's what this is all about. We want to create that wealth that's going to give you active freedom to do the things that you want to do. For 2025, guys, we're going to be building all 12 markets. I will stick with this unless the stats change. Ocala is my #1 pick. I'm very excited about the single family home pricing and how fast things are renting. And the duplexes coming out are an absolute winner from past experience. Well, good. So who has some questions out there? Paz, are there any questions already in the box?
Yes, there is one question from an investor out on the West Coast, and
Okay.
it was asking about the impact of hurricanes in this region. Obviously, there's a lot of news about hurricanes that come through Florida or anywhere
Yeah.
in the Southeast, and where we're located. And some of the questions he has is, the hurricane damage potential.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, listen, I was a West Coaster too for years. I invested out there. I got used to earthquakes, and then I came here and had to do hurricanes. Hurricanes, again, when people ask me, can you still get insurance in Florida? I heard you can't because of hurricanes. I kind of laugh a little, and so do our counselors, and say, well, which properties are you talking about? The treatment of a new construction home itself compared to an older home is very different. Like for example, I'm sitting in my home office right now, and my house is one off the ocean. I was built in 2004. It's only 10 houses wide where I live. You go down the street a little, there's a few smaller bungalows that were built in the 1950s. Their insurance, even though the house is a quarter of the size of mine, is 5 times my insurance. 5 times my insurance. Why? Because it sits on lower ground and it was built to a different structural design. So new construction, first and foremost, has a really good rating with insurance companies for withstanding hurricane damage. They have to be. 2004, they changed the rules and said you have to build with stronger fastenings. You also have to build at higher ground, no more 2 feet or 3 feet above sea level. You have to go 14 feet above sea level. And then you have to look at hurricane risk zones throughout Florida. So there's certain areas, the Florida Keys, Miami, these are the highest risk zones for hurricanes, and the insurance rates show that. Ocala is the lowest hurricane risk zone in Florida. So if you have concerns about hurricanes, I always send people to Ocala. It's not, is it 100% foolproof? No, nothing is when it comes to the weather, but the insurance is the cheapest because the hurricane risk is also the lowest. So this is a great market if you're concerned about hurricanes. But again, just to back up a little further about hurricanes, a lot of hurricane damage that we see on the news is normally with oceanfront properties or properties within a half mile of the beach. And we don't really build there for our investors. Now, I personally live here, but my investment properties are more inland. And so that is how we kind of do our model. Most of our, even if we're in coastal areas, Ocala is not, but our other markets, we still build inland a few miles to get that lower hurricane risk and better insurance rate. Did that answer it, Paz?
I believe so. I'm going to post it on as a private response back to the person.
Okay.
I've got a second question here. It's an investor up in the Northeast and is wondering how is it possible that we can offer a rate as low as 3.75% on a 10-year ARM when his lenders that he's normally worked with, they're in between the 6.5 and 7% range.
Great question. So this is one of the biggest secrets that we uncovered. So luckily, we have a very good balance sheet. As a lot of you know, we were partially acquired by Sumitomo Forestry a few years ago. Sumitomo Forestry is 331 years old and an extremely successful company. They liked Florida. They like build to rent. They've been a perfect team up. We have zero bank debt. Zero bank debt. Even with the hundreds of units we're building, we have no bank debt, which is kind of unheard of for a mid-level builder like ourselves. We have a very healthy balance sheet. We've been able to leverage this healthy balance sheet to go into banks and qualify for what's called a builder forward commitment. So we're not only in the house building game now, we're in the money buying game. So we buy large tranches of mortgage money to be able to pass the savings on to you. Now, this is expensive for us, but again, we're about getting properties done the best way and doing volume. So if you went to your lender, first of all, you wouldn't be allowed to buy it down this low, just going in someone off the street. But if you went into your lender and said, I'd like to buy my rate down to 3.75%, you'd be getting charged anywhere between 12 to 15 points. So that's 12 to 15 percentage points of what the total loan would be. Very expensive. Now, we're able to get that since we're doing bulk cheaper than that, but it's still expensive. But we are paying for these mortgages for you to pass the savings along to our clients. That's how we're able to get stuff that's not published to the public, that your local mortgage company cannot get for you, because the bank is taking the risk with us, with our properties and our balance sheet. They're allowing us to buy the mortgages up front, and then we're able to package them and allow you to use them. And that's how we get the 3.75.
Thank you, Jim. I've got another question from Amy Good. At how many
Right.
purchases at once do you see a break on the purchase?
So again, Amy, we are in the volume business of make less off of each deal and make up for it in volume. So there can be a little, but there's not much because again, we're a low margin business. And a lot of our margin right now goes to making sure you get the best mortgages and free property management. So it's always great to make an offer with your property counselor, and they will guide you on that. But we don't have any sort of direct benchmark because we are working off low margins. But again, always great to make an offer and see what Paz or Allison or Jen or Austin can get through for you.
I have another question here from Ryan. He's got some questions on the loan offerings, the 10-year arms, DSCR loans, and also conventional 30 years. So we
Okay.
offer the whole all the options. If you could expand on that.
Yeah, so we have our most popular right now is a 30-year amortization, 10-year fixed at 3.75. That's our most popular right now. If you're more of an old school investor and you want to go 30-year am, 30-year fixed, no problem. I do that on some of my loans as well. That would be more at about 4.25. DSCR, for in case any of you don't know what DSCR means, DSCR is a loan where you already have 10 loans in your name with the basic Fannie Freddie backing, or you might be an international investor. I'm sure we have some of our Canadian friends on tonight. So DSCR loans are loans where the loan is made more from the property qualifications itself than you are personally qualifying. And those rates are at about 5.5% right now. And that's the lowest DSCRs I think anyone's been able to find anywhere. That's our client speaking, not us. Again, through Sumitomo, we've been able to get one of the best DSCR programs, I think, right now in the country, especially with rate. And yes, that is 30-year money. A lot of things out there right now. And again, wherever you guys go, we want to see you do well. I do highly, highly recommend that you always look to see how long does a rate last. We have seen some rates at 4%, but they're only lasting for 12 months, 18 months. That can be a very scary situation for you because that will come quick. Now, if you look out 10 years, I'm pretty comfortable with that. 30 years, absolutely. But wherever you're looking, see how long these low interest rates are for. And if they're anywhere less than 7 years, I would highly consider taking a step back because you don't want to put yourself in a difficult situation of it correcting upwards and you not being able to handle that.
Okay. I've got a question from Dave from Michigan. He's asking about our property management. Who is Suncoast? What would their fees be? And for the length of the contract with the tenant in place, with the 1 year or the 2 year free property management, what happens after that?
Yeah, great question. So, Suncoast Property Management, we have about 50 people on our staff right now, and it's growing. One of the hardest parts of the game, one of the things we've put the most into, we are now managing mainly For the high percentage only new construction properties, we actually fired some landlords a few years ago because there were older houses not being taken care of, and we wanted to focus on our new construction business. So we are known as the new construction turnkey management company. We want to see you do well off the bat. And again, we look long term. The one thing we've learned with helping to strategize our business and really lay out the best format with Sumitomo is they look long term. When you work with someone who's 331 years old, they look long term. And at first it's saying, wow, free management. How does that make sense? But again, these guys look out not a year or so, they look out 7 to 10 years with clients. And we feel if we can get you going with the right cash flow and support those first few years, you'll stay with us long term. That's even with giving you free monthly management. So that free monthly management is given to you for the first 2 years. And after that, you can decide to leave, you can decide to stay. We have a very high 95+% retention rate, which we're very proud of, but that's up to you. The normal monthly fee is 8%. There is a lease up fee and obviously a small fee if a tenant is extending to re-sign the lease. But again, your property counselor will go over all details of any cost of PM when you're looking at an actual property analysis. They can go through all of that with you. And then with the property management as well, there was one more question to that, Paz. I'm trying to remember what it was.
The rent protection.
Oh, rent protection. Yeah, rent protection is if the property doesn't rent within the first 3 months, we will pay the next 3 months of your rent to make sure that it rents. So it kind of gives you a stop at how much you could outlay. We also give an eviction guarantee. If for some reason, and this is a small chance, but if someone got evicted within 6 months of you owning the property, a tenant we put in, then we'll fill it again without any charge. But all these little details you'll want to go through with your property counselor. We really have some great slide decks together now to explain property management. We also have a client cares division. So when you're looking to come aboard, a client's cares division will tell you a lot about that transition where you're going from our building side over to management, getting key things set up from your auto draft of where you want your money sent to. All these details we will walk you through. Again, we want you to be a part of the process, but never on your own. And we've done this, several thousand times now. And we want you to be a part of the process. So our different departments will step in. But again, the property counselor will kind of show you exactly how our system works. And we've done a lot of fine tuning over the last 10 years to make it a lot easier and a lot more enjoyable.
I've got a question from Drew. Regards real estate professional status, investing with Southern Impression Homes, and having the ability to do that.
Yeah, so it's a case by case basis. Again, start the conversation with your property counselor. Every situation is different. Are you handling any real estate elsewhere? Are you just managing your property manager at Suncoast? We would have to ask certain questions on that to determine if you'd be able to get professional status, which I understand why you're wanting to get it. Good on you. I enjoy having it for my rentals, that's for sure. But it would have to be a case by case. Start the conversation with your property counselor, and we can get you a deeper answer for your situation.
Another question here from Gary from Michigan, another Michigander. Question regards the other markets that we were in. He missed the first part of the presentation, and the question is asking is he understands we're not in Miami or Orlando. What's your reasoning for that?
Yeah, so we're not in Miami, we're not in Orlando, we're not in Tampa, because our key word is affordability. So if you go to those markets, their median their median home price is more than double the markets that we're building in. We go to second tier markets where there's good income per household, like Ocala, almost 80,000, but the average home is only 300,000. You go to a Miami or a Tampa, it's much, much higher. It's more than double that. Sometimes, high sixes, and the income hasn't gone up quite that much. They might only be, at 92,000. So I love Miami and Tampa and Orlando. I have family and friends in all three of those markets. But for our investment strategy, our job is to get you in areas that we think are first stable and safe and also have the potential for growth. I believe a market like Ocala with that high of an income and still priced in the high 200,000s for a single family is a safer play, and it has cash flow right off the bat, than going into a main market for a price of almost double where you're losing, where you have a negative cash flow every month. So again, I like those markets. And if you want to play the equity game where you're willing to lose a bunch of money every month to try to go up, that's fine. But I like to have my cake and eat it too, get solid homes in areas poised for growth that produce cash flow and then wait.
I've got a question from Jim from Iowa. Two-part question. The firstly, the warranty that we provide on the homes that we build, and
Yep.
secondly, how does Southern Impression Homes work with an investor when it comes to cost segregation? If he uses a third party, how do we sit down with them, and how is that process?
Again, here the great thing about and great questions, this is exactly what your property counselors are there for. They've dealt with this dozens and dozens of times, either personally or with their clients. And so, yes, we can refer you to cost segregation people. Every situation may be a little different, and we will get you the answers on that. Working with Southern Impression Homes, what was the other question on that, pause?
The question was warranty.
Warranty. So a 210 warranty, 210 state mandated warranty. So again, your property counsel will explain deeper. What I can tell you now, when I used to renovate old homes and do new everything, but I would only be able to get a 1 year warranty on the work for the warranty company that I worked with. Now with new construction, you get a 210 warranty. And basically what that is, again, I can't go into all of the details tonight. It's 2 years on the little stuff, 10 years on the big structural stuff. And again, your property counselor will break that down further, but that's a great thing to have in place when you're looking out 10 years on bigger structural things and 2 years on smaller stuff. Again, one of the best parts about new construction when we started to do it, our rental turns, after a tenant lives there and then moves out, those went down almost 70% because you're able to build to a certain way. And when you have a warranty in place as well on top of that, again, our goal is to get you through those first few years where we see the markets really kicking in with equity growth and rental growth. And that's why I like, again, the 210 warranty in place to help get you that done.
I've got a question here from one of our Canadian investors. How simple is the process in working with Southern Impression Homes for someone who's a Canadian national wanting to buy investment properties in Florida?
Great question. Everyone on here has done it. I know Jen is working with a few Canadian buyers right now. At first, it wasn't easy. Now it's gotten pretty easy. We know the entity structuring that needs to be set up for your protection and also to avoid double taxation. And we know how to get you the DSCR loans. I've had good friends out of Toronto for years, and they just started over the last 2 years coming down here. And the reason why is before that, you could never find a good loan. You couldn't do it. And now we have loans with long-term financing, good interest rates for 25 to 30% down. Before it was unheard of. You might hear about a 50% down that was high interest in short term, but now we actually have lending. So it is a lot easier now than it was 2 years ago. And a lot of Canadians are starting to cross the border for, they don't like their landlord laws. They are, feeling they want exposure to the US dollar. And I'm really glad we have the system to help do that with them now.
I've got another question here with someone who's invested in Jacksonville. And the
Okay.
question is, how do you rate the Ocala market as compared to Jacksonville? Would you say it was from like 3 years ago, or is it something, very familiar right now?
Well, this is where it's kind of hard. It, it's tough to really decipher this a bit because again, it's like it's dividing out your kids, and you love all your kids, but all of our markets for them in order to be adopted by us, if you will, is they have to have population growth, economic growth, a good affordability index, something desirable drawing them to the area, and healthy supply and demand. So Jacksonville was my main hub market that I've invested in for years, and that's how I met my now building partner, and the company we have now was formed. But Ocala, again, right now is my number one. I can't say that they will grow the same because Jacksonville is a large metro market, and Ocala is smaller. But what I'm seeing for for cash flow right now, it's better and it's going to continue. I think if I had to guess, Jacksonville might have a little more equity growth, but the buy-in's also a little higher, and you're going to sacrifice cash flow. So Both will get you where you want to go. Both have those five factors. They are different markets, especially if you come here. We encourage tours. Come on a tour with your property counselor. Come to one of our First Friday events, first Friday of the quarter. We invite investors to come in, tour our office. We do a short master class and then go out in the field. Like you'll start to get a feel of our different markets. You'll see these strengths here, but Ocala looks very different than Jacksonville. Inverness looks a little like St. Augustine, which is just south where I live, but they're different markets, strong fundamentals. But it really is going to be a choice thing. And some people will say, I want the lowest buy-in with the best cash flow, and that's where Ocala surely is at right now.
Do you see a Southern Impression Homes building quad units in the Ocala region?
We will. We've built there. They've been sold out for years. Our owners are very happy with the quads. Again, quads are a bit of a harder animal to get approved. Nothing right now, but again, we own over 5,000 lots in these markets we focus on in Florida, guys. So we plan to build them out, and there will be some quad communities. The only place we have quads available right now are Jacksonville.
And the last question I've got here, is it true that Southern Impression Homes as a builder does not have any debt?
Absolutely, it is. So when Sumitomo Forestry stepped in and bought a piece of our business, they paid off all of our banking lines and they fund our projects. This is key, guys. A lot of our builder buddies are really suffering right now because the banks have tightened up. And even though they're great builders, they're really spending hours and hours a week trying to get the money. We don't have to do any of that anymore. We are now partially owned, so we're in complete partnership. They fund all of our building projects. And again, it's nice to have someone of their age, over 300 years old, and saying, we see great things for Florida for the next 7 to 10 years. Go. Start building, just go. And so that's what we're doing. We're building in these markets. And that is with them funding us and we're not taking any money from banks right now. It's pretty exciting.
And a follow-up to that is someone up in the Northeast who invested with another builder and their project stalled. Do you have any experiences with working with other builders in
On,
saving the day?
we've saved the day on some of this, and this has become a sad story, and I'm sorry that you're a part of it, where a lot of people bought pre-construction and now the job is not being finished. You can set an appointment with some of your property counselors. We have been able to help some people. Um, and it's a difficult situation. So I feel for you. We would do our best to help you. We can't help everyone. We have been able to, we have a construction rescue program just because of this. So again, I would set a call with your counselor and we'll do our best. We have helped, because we've seen 4 or 5 builders try to do what we do and gone sideways in the last 2 years. And so we've been able to help quite a few clients. So I can't promise, but again, set with the counselor and we'll see what we can do.
And one more question on interest rates. How do you see the interest rates fluctuating in 2025?
I do believe they're going to go down, but from what people smarter than me are saying, originally we were saying it was going to be 4 to 6 rate cuts. I think it's going to be more 2 to 4 rate cuts, maybe even only 2 to 3. For us, though, we're okay with that because as long as we can keep qualifying for these builder forward commitments, we have an unfair advantage. When everyone says, gosh, I wish I had locked in on rates back in the end of 2021, that's the rates that we're offering our clients right now. So for us, we're impartial. It'd be nice for rates to drop because then we might be able to drop it even lower at 3.75. Hey, maybe we'll get you to 3.25. But we know we can get the job done at 3.75. And it's going to take people longer because there's not going to be that many rate cuts as everyone said. It looks like it's going to be cut in half of the amount of rate cuts.
I have a question here from Raymond, which is probably something we have to do a deeper dive on. His question is, does your in-house lending offer non-recourse loans for self-directed real estate IRAs?
We do. We have some self-directed IRA non-recourse loans. So again, some of the property counselors on here have worked a few of those. So book a call with them. They'll be able to go offer. Those are harder deals to get financed, but we have found some better financing that can get it done.
And a question from Warren on another webinar, the one in January. It was mentioned that you may be doing builds in Tennessee, Texas, and Georgia. Do you have a time frame for that?
We are building in all those markets right now with some of our larger institutional clients. We are letting them test the market with their big pockets and money, and then we will decide on bringing in our individual investor clients, following the big fish, if you remember the little fish swimming next to the big fish. So we are looking at, we're keeping an eye on that, and it's something that could be coming about within the next 12 months. But again, our main focus for 2025 is affordable markets in Florida. Those others are coming, but it's going to be a little time.
Think that's all the questions I have from the chat.
Okay. Well, that was a great round of question blasting. It's always good. You're probably going to hang up and say, "Man, I thought of something." Get it to us. Contact your property counselor. We'll get you a copy of these slides, a copy of the recording. If you have more questions on Ocala, Inverness, the duplexes, single families, just go over a market analysis and a pro forma analysis on some of the properties. It's a great learning experience, and you also get to know your counselor. So with that, um, great night. I know I kept you on a little bit longer, but it was a team effort because you guys asked a lot of questions. So, Paz, thanks for doing this tonight. Everyone, thank you for joining us. We appreciate your business. It's an honor to be able to help you create that legacy and that passive income to do the things you want to do with the people you love. We really appreciate it. I know some repeat clients on here. Thank you for that, guys. And we look forward to creating more prosperity together. Take care.
Thank you.